unless you aced quiz 1 without help, you need to take notes on this video. Got it? Get ready, make sure you're ready to go, and then hit pause, make sure you get sorted, and then start again. All right, so here we go. Let's read the problem. A, the point 2, 4, and B, the point k, -1. The points, rather, are root 29, or square root of 29, units apart. Solve for k. So, saying that they are 29, radical 29 units apart, square root of 29 units apart, this is a distance, right? So this is actually the d that's going to be in our formula. And we want to know this point within this value within the point B. So what we're going to do is use the distance formula, so you need that. Make sure you copy the formula accurately, and then replace into D, instead of D, write radical 29, and then make sure you substitute accurately. Remember, it's always a good idea to label here x1, y1, x2, y2, right? If you want to, you could actually use k instead of x2, since ultimately we're trying to solve for k. So that would work too. All right, so here we go. I'm going to substitute in. Make sure that makes sense. And then we're going to keep copying and bringing down radical 29 equals, and I'm going to solve what I can in here. So in here, I know that -4 minus 5, 1 minus -4 is -5 squared. And I know that that is ultimately then going to be 25, right? But what I need to figure out is this part here. And you can do that on the side or do it within here, but it basically means k minus 2 times k minus 2, right? And k minus 2, this expression times itself, is going, I need to distribute. I need to take that k and distribute, multiplying it out, take the minus 2 here, distribute that out. So I'm going to get k squared minus 4k once I work it all out. And then -2 times -2 is +4. That's what I get there. And I can bring that, and I take my 29, root 29, and then I've got k squared minus 4k plus 4 plus 25. Whoopsie, I was already jumping ahead in my head in the math, right? Well, those are like terms, so I can add those. So I'm just going to keep on going, simplifying as much as I can. K squared minus 4k plus 29. Now, I can't go any further inside of this square root symbol here, and I can't do anything with this as it is. But ultimately, that's my challenge, right, is the fact that I have a square root altogether. So I need to get rid of that, and the only way you can clear a square root is by squaring it. And I have a square on both sides here. So fortunately, what that means I can do is I can square the left side of the equation and square the right side of the equation. And that means that my square roots cancel the squares. So I end up with 29, comes out of the square root symbol now. K squared minus 4k plus 29. Also out of its square root sign. Now I can solve for k. What I'm going to do is bring all the numbers to one side. I'm going to take 29 from both sides because I need to have one side of my equation equal to 0. This is important, right? Ultimately, what we're going to do is use the null factor law, which means I need everything equal to 0. All kinds of stuff there equal to 0. So k squared minus 4k, and that cancels too. How convenient. So what that means is I'm now looking at this. All right? I need to solve for k. And what you do at this stage here, once you have it equal to 0, is you're going to factor. And in this case, because I've lost my 29, I've lost a term here, I can't use PSF. I'm just going to factor this expression and say, hey, what is a common factor of k squared and -4k? Common factor of k squared and -4k is k, which means I can factor that out. K squared divided by k is k. -4k divided by k is -4. Now I have two expressions. I have this, and they're both equal to 0. That's the null factor law. from an earlier unit. So I'm going to rewrite this as, because there are two expressions here, I'm going to rewrite this as two little equations. K equals 0 and k minus 4 equals 0. And then I solve those. What's fortunate is one of them is already solved, right? This one's solved. Here I need to solve for k. Add 4 to both sides. K equals 4. So k equals two values. K equals 0 and 4. Okay? Now, the reason we have two answers, and this goes back to a previous unit, is that we had a quadratic here, right? Whenever you have a value, a variable to a square, you're going to get two answers. You might get the same answer twice, but that's still two answers if it happened to be a perfect square. Okay? I want you to go back and I want you to look through this entire problem. Here it is from the beginning. All right? Follow down how we got from one point to the next, what the steps were. Make sure you've copied this and this makes sense. If you have any questions, you need to bring those questions to class, the very beginning of class tomorrow. Walk in the door with them. Got it? Good. Have a good night.